Today we visit the Vanilla Expert Center at Solvay in Lyon. Corinne Duffy, Technical Marketing Manager, will explain for us the importance of vanillin for her company.
Today we're going to talk about natural vanillin obtained by bioconversion of ferulic acid. I wanted to give you a little bit more insight about Solvay, then we'll move on to talk about the importance of vanillin and natural vanillins, a little discussion on flavor legislation, and then the natural vanillin applications and its importance in today's market. Solvay is a chemical group, it's a Belgian group actually, specialty chemicals with about 10 billion euro turnover. It is present all over the world. One of the main products of Solvay is the vanillin. Solvay has been producing vanillin for more than 100 years in France, and then it developed its production in the US and in China. We also produce some ethyl vanillin, which is an important aroma chemical in the flavor industry. We started the production of natural vanillin about nearly 10 years ago, and then more recently we expanded the capacity of production due to the great demand of natural flavors. So let's see a bit more in detail the importance of vanillin and why we are really following this market. The vanilla flavor market is really of interest because if we look at the total flavors market, it is segmented in two between the sweet flavors and the savory flavors. The sweet flavor is in green about 40% of the market, and we can see that the vanilla flavor is a big part of it. It's really the number one flavor, the favorite flavor of consumers in foodstuffs. Why is vanilla so important? Well, because it is a nice sweet flavor, it brings childhood memories, and it's also an exotic taste. So in today's products, especially in ice creams, vanilla flavor is really the preferred flavor. We know that vanilla bean is in crisis at the moment, that the prices are very high, and the question here today is how to meet the market demand for natural flavors, for vanilla flavors, in these times of crisis. Going back to basics, we know that vanillin is the main ingredient of vanilla, of cured vanilla bean. It's present between 1 to 2% in cured vanilla bean. And if we look at the total crops of vanilla beans, which are present mainly in Madagascar, they amount to about 2,000 tons. So 2,000 tons of vanilla bean are equivalent to about 30 tons of theoretical vanillin present in the cured beans. This is by far not enough to meet the market demand. The market demand is much larger than that. We'll see in a minute, it's about 20,000 tons. And it's really important in sweet flavors and also directly used in food applications. So the market demand cannot be met in nature. This is why industrial companies had to look at solutions to copy what exists in nature by various solutions. Looking at vanillins and natural vanillin, we can see here the various pathways which exist on a commercial basis. Starting from the left in white, you can see the various pathways to go to vanillin. For example, going from catechol to guaiacol to vanillin, which is the one we use. Here we're talking about synthetic vanillin. The vanillin obtained from lignin is also a synthetic vanillin. Lignin is extracted from the wastewater of the paper industry. The products in blue are hemi-synthetic, so that means that the raw material is natural, for example, curcuma or eugenol, but the production process is a chemical one yielding the vanillin. So therefore, it cannot be labeled as natural. And then finally, we come to the product of interest, which is natural vanillin coming from bioconversion of ferulic acid. So here it's a natural vanillin, and of course we have put the vanillin which you can find in natural vanilla extract. Of course it is a natural product. If we compare all these vanillins together, we can see that the production scales can be quite different, going from synthetic vanillin, which is widely available in the market and has a very affordable price, to the natural vanillins, especially the one from ferulic acid, which is a more recent product produced by bioconversion, so a bit more expensive, but still a very interesting cost in use compared to the theoretical vanillin present in the vanilla bean. So all these vanillins do exist in the market, and it's important to get the right analytical methods to be able to discriminate them, because there can be some adulteration due to the high prices of, for example, the vanilla. Looking at the natural vanillin from ferulic acid, this is the way we operate the production. We start from ferulic acid, which we purchase. It is sourced from non-GMO rice bran oil. The ferulic acid is then converted by bioconversion using a non-modified strain to a natural vanillin. The natural vanillin is present in a liquid phase, is then purified, extracted, and then is now sold under the form of a white crystal powder. The product is very pure and is very efficient in its flavoring profile. We have all the very important certificates for the food industry, like absence of GMO, but also kosher, halal, allergen-free, and also food safe. Especially we are FSSC 22000 certified, which is important in the food industry. If we look at a reminder of the flavor legislation, we know that the flavor European legislation is the 1334/2008, and the natural vanillin obtained by bioconversion of ferulic acid does comply with the 3 criteria that you can see here to meet the natural status. Of course, this is the case of the vanillin present in vanilla bean, but all the other vanillins do not comply with the European flavor status for naturalness. Going to the US, here we refer to 2 important rulings. First one is the FDA Chapter 12122, where 2 criteria are needed to label the product natural. The raw material has to come from nature, and then the fermentation is in the list of the natural processes which are authorized by the FDA. Another interesting ruling is the TTB. The TTB is the Tax Alcohol Trade Bureau, which gives a ruling about the natural vanillin from ferulic acid being the only one authorized, especially in alcoholic beverages. If we look at the applications of natural vanillin, the product we sell is actually mostly used in flavors, in flavor preparations, especially natural flavors, of course. So the main application is going to be sweet flavors like vanilla flavors with different labeling depending on the other raw materials. And then in other types of flavors like fruit or dairy or creamy flavors, because it gives a nice sweet taste profile. Natural vanillin in recent years has been of great interest to food companies because they currently use synthetic vanillin and they want to move to natural label. So they are trying to replace one-to-one natural vanillin, synthetic vanillin by natural vanillin, which is the case in a lot of applications, but the main markets are going to be chocolate and confectionery and also bakery. If we conclude on what we've seen today, we can see that natural vanillin coming from the bean is, of course, the main historical product, but by far cannot meet the market demand. The quality has come down in recent years because of the early harvesting. The production is not growing because it's difficult to extend the cultivation, and the prices have been soaring up, whilst the market demand is going up a lot due to the demand for natural flavors. So the natural vanillin obtained by bioconversion of ferulic acid can be an interesting solution to meet the demand for natural flavors. The quality is steady because we produce on a continuous operation. There is no seasonality. The raw materials are always of the same quality, and we guarantee a consistent organoleptic profile, which is very important for our customers. Looking ahead, the pricing also is steady, which is important for new projects, and the capacity has been extended to meet the growing market demand. So in our opinion, this is really an interesting ingredient, which is showing some great prospects for the future. Thank you for your attention.